You want to be a real estate investor. That part's easy. But how do you know how you should be a real estate investor? What strategy should you do? If you've looked into real estate investing for 5 seconds, you've already figured out there's a million different options. And you may have noticed that on top of those million different options, there's a million different ways to do each option. I can't imagine why anyone's confused getting into real estate investing. Hello, it's a confusing industry. One of the biggest questions I hear is, what do I do? What strategy do I do? This one kind of sounds good. Well, what about this one? Should I do this one? That's what this video is for. I'm going to give you 4 easy steps to follow to help you determine which investing strategy you might want to consider pursuing. The reason this matters is twofold. Number one, you don't want to get into a strategy that you hate. Trust me, it's going to be challenging enough. You want to actually at least halfway enjoy what you're doing. And number two, you also want to set yourself up for some level of success. If you pick a strategy that's really advanced, you don't have the skills yet, and you hate it, what do you think the chances of succeeding are? So the big goal here is, let's try and set you up for success, not to sound like some corporate billboard, but let's try and set you up for some level of success in the beginning so your path forward might be a little smoother. So, before I give you the 4 steps, go ahead and smash that like button if you're in this category. Are you currently trying to figure out what investing strategy you want to do? Hit the like button because I guarantee you're in good company. So when you see like a million likes down there, you're going to know that you're not alone. Okay, now that you've hit your like button, grab your paper and your pen and write these 4 steps down because they're coming at you. Step number 1, be clear on your goals. Sounds obvious, it's not. So often when we start looking into all these different strategies, we're like, oh, well, flipping might sound good, or, maybe I do that. Should I do this? Well, before you worry about any of that, the more clear that you are on your goals, the easier the next steps are going to be. It's going to be easier to narrow things down, it's going to be easier to make a decision, and it's going to be easier to rule things out. So, for instance, are you just wanting to do something smart with your money? Maybe you have a corporate job that you're not interested in leaving. You just want to do something smart. This is a side thing, no biggie. Or maybe you're trying to leave your corporate job. Do you have a certain income amount per month that you're aiming for? Do you want passive income or active income? What are you trying to achieve as an investor? When you write all this down, don't go lightly. Just write out your ideal scenario. If you could have anything you want from investing, what would it be? Put it on paper. Cool. Easy. Be clear on your goals and write them down so you can refer back to them. Because when you start into step number 2, those goals are going to start becoming a little more handy. So step 2 is actually pretty easy. You don't even have to look at your goals if you don't want to. Step number 2 is know your options. Just write out all the options. Flipping, wholesaling, rental properties, landlord, property manager, notes, syndications, whatever. As you Google how to be a real estate investor, just write down all the possibilities that come at you. Right now, you don't have to sift through these. Just take them all in, put them on paper. Some of it may narrow itself down. You may be like, ooh, that sounds terrible, or that definitely doesn't fit my goal. But don't worry too much about it. Just write down everything you can. Write down a little about each. If something seems exciting, put a little star next to it. You're really just gathering the data at this point. Put it all on the table. And then, while it's all on the table, we're going to move to step 3. This is where a little more work is involved. Now, with everything laid out on the table in front of you, you're literally just going to narrow down the options. This is when you're especially going to go back to step number 1 and looking at your goals. Let's say that you want completely passive income. You don't want to do any work. You have a full-time job. You've got a family of 5. You don't have time for any of this. I think it's safe to say you could rule out wholesaling, for example. Wholesaling isn't even investing. It's a job. So it's very active. It's 100% active. So if active is the last thing you're looking for, toss wholesaling off the table. Cool. Now we've narrowed down the pile. doing that? You're literally just looking at all of the options right in front of you and you're narrowing them down. To help you narrow them down, look at two things. Number one, like we said, the goals that you laid out in step one, but then also, what are your strengths? What are your interests? Maybe flipping on paper sounds like the best idea, but you're like, ugh, I hate dealing with contractors. I'm not handy, whatever the thing may be. And you're like, ugh, that doesn't sound very good. Rule it out. Your strengths and your interests are going to come into play for this. So take them into consideration. If you look at your goals, your strengths, and your interests, you're going to narrow that pool really far down. And the items that you have listed left as possibilities are probably going to be the ones that you have the greatest chance of success for. Hello. It's like the trifecta. Goals, interests, skills. Telling you what, go with it. Then, step number 4. So you've narrowed your pool down. Maybe you have one option, maybe you have 2, maybe 2.5 to 3 options, whatever it is. Step number 4, you just got to pick one. You got to pick it and stick with it. So here's what I work with coaching clients all the time with, and I was guilty of this in the beginning. Huge. I was going wide, I was not going deep. And the wider I was going, I wasn't gaining traction on any one strategy or any one path that I was trying to achieve. I was learning a little about a lot, and it didn't really help me. It wasn't until I started going deep and gaining traction on one thing that things actually started happening. So that's what you have to do in step number 4 by just picking a strategy. If one of the strategies stands out to you more than the others, great. If 3 options are all equal, cool. Just pick one and go with it, because you've got to give yourself the chance to get some traction in order to figure out if that's going to be the strategy for you, if it's going to work, if you're going to be able to succeed with it. You're not going to be able to succeed with anything if you keep staring at 3 options. So, I know they may seem simple, but you would be amazed how many people I work with have just skipped over all of them. So, number 1, establish your goals and be very clear on them. Number 2, just gather up all of your options. Number 3, start narrowing down those options based on those goals from step 1 and your general interest and skill level. Then, step 4, you just gotta do it, you gotta pick one. And then you'll start diving deeper into that one strategy. That's a different video. We're gonna keep it simple for right now. I may be able to link to a video to help you with that. But for now, I don't even want to get you going that direction, because you're going to skip over the first 3 steps if I'm like, hey, you can go over here and get this video that tells you everything you need to know about this strategy. That's why I'm kind of hesitating on that. Work on these 4 steps first. To help you work on these 4, I really want you to check out my book that is linked below. Not Your How-To Guide to Real Estate Investing, Life Lessons on Hacking Your Mind Before You Hack Your Wallet. Most of that book is literally geared towards this question. How do you figure out your strengths? What are your interests? What are the dynamics of the real estate investing industry that you need to understand in order to help you choose a strategy? And then there's a more detailed explanation of exactly these steps towards the end of the book. It goes deeper into each one. I even give you a day in the life of people doing different strategies to help give you more information to sift through. So absolutely, if this question is in your mind, go check out my book. And I'm not just saying that because it's my book. It's actually going to help you. So check out that link below. Make sure you have smashed that like button if you're in this category of you don't really know which way to do it. And keep checking out more videos, because I guarantee if you take a little time ahead of time to just slow down and answer these questions for yourself and get yourself going on a decent path to starting, your chances for success are going to be so much higher. So definitely keep learning, answer those questions, and you are going to do amazing.